Hey, y'all, it's the doctor here. Before we get started with the podcast, we wanted to take a quick second to let you all know about our new course that's coming out in mid-December. It's designed to help you take back your time and slay your day. We call it Time Mastery with Science. And because it's a beta launch, we are offering a ridiculously low pre-launch special of 77% off. Yeah, no need to rewind. I said 77% off. We want as many people as possible to take advantage of this opportunity. So if you're having difficulty managing your schedule, want to master your mindset, increase productivity, get better at dealing with distractions, and take back control of your day, you need to take this course. The link is in the show notes, or head on over to our website at jbandthedoctor.com. And now, on to the show.
Welcome to Mastery with Science, home to mad scientists, rogue entrepreneurs, and the coaches with the mostest, featuring JB and the Doctor. Join us in our lab where we mix the old recipes with new formulas and our secret sauce to create incomparable, next-level proven results for you. We call this Mastery with Science. So, slap on your gloves and put on your goggles because JB and the Doctor are in the lab.
It's alive!
Hello, everybody. This is JB.
And the Doctor.
Thanks for joining us. As always, we are really excited to be talking to you today. You should probably be listening to us right now. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, if you just want to get better at what you do and at life, if you're interested in leveling up and getting to the next level, I hope you're listening. And if you're not, turn it on. Come join us in the lab.
How would they hear us if they weren't listening?
That goes beyond my level of knowledge, my friend, but somehow, some way, somebody should be telling you about us.
Tell a friend. Then they can listen.
A friend.
Yeah,
isn't that funny? Because what's our topic today? What are we talking about?
Imaginary friends?
Imaginary friends.
Oh, wait, that was a different class.
That was different. No, we're talking about how to give a referral. Not how to get a referral. Everybody's pretty good at getting, but how do you give? How do you give back a little?
That is a great question.
Don't worry, Doc. I'll answer it for you. I promise.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat with anticipation.
Well, anticipate a little bit further because we still have to tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us, where we're at, where our content is. Can't just jump right into the podcast, right? First order of business, absolutely essential. If you haven't checked out our Facebook community group, go ahead and do so. You can find the link in the show notes.
Right down below.
But that's not all, folks. We like to have some fun. Safe to say, right, Doc?
Fun is my middle name. Not on my birth certificate, though.
Moving on. We do have an awesome YouTube channel. JB and the Doctor. Am I right? Mastery with Science.
You are super correct.
You're going to want to check this out. I mean, if you are looking for some phenomenal material and a lot of fun, and trust me, we do have some fun, you're going to want to check out our YouTube channel.
We may have eaten some marshmallows. We blew really hard into some cartridges, talking about Nintendo, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, and stay tuned because we got a lot of other great content coming out. So between the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, community group, here on the podcast, YouTube, you can get your daily dose and then some. Don't overdose, but, build up a tolerance to JB and the Doctor. And we hope to see you on all platforms.
That might have been the best branding ever. Build up a tolerance to JB and the Doctor.
Hey,
It's
you
so
know,
on
it's
brand.
all about willpower.
That's on
The
brand for
muscle.
us.
Flex those willpower muscles and get a little bit more of us every day. Doc, I'm pretty excited today to be talking about how to give a referral. This is top of mind for almost any business person out there. And it's actually a really, really good skill for anybody, because we all know people who run businesses and are looking for referrals, even if we're not business owners ourselves. So this comes up, and I've seen this even within my own family, where they have all the best intentions in the world and they're going to do whatever they can to support you, except they don't know how to actually do it right. And there's a big difference between doing it and doing it right.
You mean when they recommend you for something that you don't do? Like that could be wrong.
That has happened to me twice in the last week. I got really excited voicemails from two people. Hey, I need to talk to you. I got somebody for you. I just referred you. This is great. It's perfect for you. And I talked to the person, and they literally are looking for something I do not do. I don't do it. So it went from 2 great referrals to zilch.
Then you got to provide a referral for someone else who does do it, because you know how to do it properly.
And you know what? They are good referrals for the people I handed them off to, and it's not a loss by any means. In a perfect world, I always want to get a great referral, and that's how my business is run. I don't really market direct to consumers. I really work through referral partners, centers of influence, I like to call them. And I need referrals to be good and to be accurate. But in the meantime, even if I get a referral that isn't good for me, I can promise you I know somebody that it's going to be a good fit for. And I can promise you I absolutely do have a very specific way of providing that referral to that somebody else.
So before we delve into the actual giving the referral, I think the first thing you should know yourself is, how do you tell somebody what would be a good referral for you? So if you want to, and be able to ask in return what is a good referral for them, I think understanding your avatar is probably a great place to start. And if I've just said words that you don't understand, then this is definitely a part you want to listen to. So your avatar is basically your ideal customer, your ideal client, your ideal favorite person you want to work with. And when someone's asking you for what kind of business do, you kind of want to be specific here. You want to show your ideal avatar. The worst thing you can say is, I work with anybody. Well, that could be true, but that doesn't give any information to the other person on how to best help you. Had one earlier, we were talking, and it was pretty funny. They were a funeral home, and they said, well, what's your best customer? Well, anyone that dies. Well, that is probably very accurate. But it's hard for, the other person to pass the referral to anyone that dies when you want to be able to give it a specific lead. So people that are in the need for casket services or plots, or there's so much more ways to be specific. And I don't want to go down too deep into that morbid example.
Dude, there is nothing worse, and this goes beyond funeral homes or funeral directors. There's nothing worse than when somebody says, oh, my ideal client is everybody or anybody. I just want to kick them in the shins when I hear something like that. It drives me crazy. Why doesn't that work?
Well, everybody wants everybody, ideally, right? That's just, it doesn't give anyone any idea of what you actually do. And that's where the basis of that starts. And you can understand in your own mind what that means. Like, sure, if anyone introduces themselves to me, I can figure out a way that I can help them. But the other side doesn't know what kind of person that is. And if they have other people out there that do things that are specific. So let's take mortgages, for example.
How dare you?
If someone wanted to do a reverse mortgage, you would want to know the person that handles that specific type of mortgage. I happen to know somebody. But if they were just refinancing their loan, I would not send them to that same person. But if I don't understand the difference in what they do, we can be sending them a wrong referral that they have to refer to someone else. That's called continuity of the conversation, if you didn't catch that.
Yeah, Doc, it's funny. This might come as a shock to all of our listeners. I'm sure it will, but I've got some things to say about this.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I've got some things. I've got a lot of things, but I'm going to try to cut it down and keep my messaging tight on this one. That idea, working from the broad to the narrow, we call that triage. We're triaging down to the ideal profile or avatar, that fancy word you like to use, this next gen word, avatar. We're really cutting out all the meat and getting straight to the heart of the matter is who is our perfect client. And it's not just anybody who dies, if it's a funeral home or a funeral home director. It's anybody who dies who cares about how their loved ones are going to exit this world, who care about what that experience is going to be for everybody else that loved that person. Because that actual person, they're gone. I mean, they're not experiencing it themselves, so it's for everybody else. And I hope I'm not offending anybody who might be religious. I'm just trying to, really help make a point. A funeral director, a funeral home's best ideal client is a family member of a loved one who cares about the experience everybody else who cared about that person will have when they pass. And they want there to be a memorial and a remembrance that honors and really reflects on the person who passed. It's somebody who cares.
Or to add to that, even the person who might be passing that wants to plan ahead so that the other people are not in that position. But yes, the person you do not want to reach out to is the person who's already done all that planning.
Exactly right. Or the person who does not care to do that planning whatsoever. And they do exist. And right there is a tremendous example, Doc, of two very distinct client profiles. They have a lot of similarities, but they're two very distinct client profiles. And it's a very specific ask that was triaged down from everybody to no, not everybody, to very specific people. And that makes it a lot easier because here's the thing. When it comes to paying attention to other people's wants and needs and asks, because when you ask for a referral and you color in the picture here, it is an ask. We're bad at it. I mean, we're bad at listening to other people. You're a psychologist, right? I mean, maybe not in this podcast, but my gosh, what have you experienced over your years?
I'm still a psychologist, even in this podcast. I'm just not offering therapy services to anyone listening. If you need therapy services,
listens so good. He listens so good, but nobody else does. I don't listen that good, obviously. Otherwise, I would have said that correctly, which I failed to do. But most of us are really bad at that. We're really bad. And so when you say everybody, it gives us nothing to remember, nothing to really hear. We don't hear everybody. We hear nobody. We hear nothing. That's the reality of it. And I've got one more thing to say about this. It's incredibly important to remember. The first time you tell something to someone, in one ear, out the other. The second time you tell something to someone, in the other ear and out the other. The third time, they were paying attention over there. They saw a squirrel. Squirrel. The fourth time, oh yeah, they were in the middle of doing something. The fifth time, oh my gosh, the fifth time, they must finally get it. They might. And they're going to look you in the eyes and they're going to say, you never told me that. I can't believe you never told me that. And you're going to want to pull your hair out. But it's the truth. People are really bad at listening. 5 to 7 times on average, we need to tell somebody before it actually clicks. What's your ask? Well, until you tell somebody 5 to 7 times, they're not going to remember. And that, my friend, is why I got 2 bad referrals. Not because I'm bad at triaging. I think I'm quite good at creating a very specific avatar. But it's because I haven't had the opportunity to provide that avatar to those referral sources enough times for it to truly sink in.
Slacker.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
So to add to that, I think not only do people not listen, if you're not saying something that's different or rememberable, they're definitely not paying attention, even to that 5th or 6th time. So if you say you work with anyone, they're like, all right, cool. Well, I know someone who does some specific stuff. Again, they put things in their categories of what they already know. In our brain, we categorize things. So again, go back to the mortgage example. If you know someone who does all kinds of mortgages, but then someone's calling you for something that's very specific, say a refi, you would say, well, I know these couple of people do all kinds of mortgages, but I know somebody who's really good at refis. That's their specialty. Who do you think you're going to pick? You're going to pick the one who specializes in it. Now, here's the beauty of this, and this is where most people get hung up on. We call it niching down. You call it triage. Different ways you could say it. This is where people get caught up on that is, well, if I'm too narrow, then I'm going to miss out on a lot of business. Think of it about going to the doctor. If you need a heart specialist, you're going to find a cardiologist. You're not going to ask your primary care a lot of special questions about your heart. They're not going to know. They're going to refer you to the cardiologist. Now, if you go to that cardiologist and you had just a general medical question, they're going to also be able to answer that because they're also trained in both, but they have a specialty in heart. So they can, they generally don't in that example, but they can also work with other people. So once you're known for a certain thing, you're going to also be known for other things in that realm. So it has a better chance of landing even more if you niche properly.
I love everything that you said. I mean, really, I'm not even kidding. I love everything you said. There's so much truth to it. As you know, I work with a ton of financial planners and advisors, and without fail, the most successful ones have a niche of some sort, and they are focused on one specific thing. You know, in the tech industry, you call it being horizontal or being very vertical in your skill set. If you're very horizontal, you're more of a general practitioner, like a doctor, you're a family medical doctor. But to your point, that practitioner who's very horizontal knows a lot about a lot, but very little on the vertical side most of the time. They're just not, they just don't have real in-depth knowledge of any specific thing, just like a general practitioner or a doctor wouldn't. He has a specialist or she has a specialist she is referring to or he is referring to that does that. Your cardiologist, just like, for example, my father's a doctor and I love my father dearly, but if I need surgery, my father's not doing my surgery. I'm getting a surgeon who hopefully specializes on whatever area of the body I need surgery on to do that surgery for me. And that is just smart. I don't think I have anything else to add to that. It's just smart. But the idea of niching is incredible because it creates a moat around you, right, Doc? It creates a competitive moat. The more vertical you are, the more specialized you are, the less people do that, and the more difficult it is to get expertise and skills there. And that creates a competitive advantage for you because trust me, I deal with that idea. I have always been very vertical in my career, and I've dealt with that. I'm giving away business. You know, those two referrals that came to me in another world that I wasn't so specialized, and I call myself hyper specialized. Anybody who's met me in person knows I am hyper specialized in what I do. Hyper specialized. I'm giving away business left and right. But I know when I give that business to people who specialize in it, I will get the business back that I specialize in. And so it does pay itself forward.
And the people that you do refer to those people that are specialized are going to get good service. They're going to get what they need done. And then who are they going to remember when they need other stuff on who referred them to something that they got a great result for? So this isn't always just about closing your own referral. This is setting up goodwill for others so things come back to you. It's still your reputation. Your reputation is very key. In my world of therapy, in one of my worlds of therapy, I started a mixer just for therapists, specifically for that reason, because we are terrible as an area of work at networking. It's something that we were always taught away from. So I actually stand out for that specific reason very much in my field. But I started a networking mixer specifically for therapists because of that. Referrals were being done through Facebook, just blindly referring people. Hey, does anyone do this? and people would answer. And then I started to notice the same people were answering no matter what the question was. There's no way they specialize in all those things. Some things were very, very specific. And now the person's going to say, okay, because they don't know that they don't know that the person responded in all the other posts also refers them. And now they're taking a risk with their reputation. So I started that mixer so that people get to know each other. So when you're giving a referral, you can actually put your own reputation on the line properly. Because if they get bad service and you're the one who referred them, sure, they'll be mad at them, but they're also going to be mad at you for sending them there. And then you're costing yourself any other future business.
Man, I find that so incredible and amazing. I mean, kudos to you for what you did, but the amazing and incredible part to me is how stupid some people can be. And I'm going to use that word very intentionally. I think that's so stupid to try to pretend that you're a specialist at everything or you're good at everything. For attorneys, they're door attorneys. Anything that walks through the door is the common joke. As an attorney, you'll take anything that walks through the door. It doesn't matter. You do it. It's just, it leads to such a bad precedent. Here's the reality in life. The more challenging a problem is to solve, the more you're going to get paid. And so specialists oftentimes will get paid more because they're dealing with challenging things. I got to tell you, what you're talking therapy, and to you, maybe it's the mundane. It's your expertise. It's what you do day in and day out. But to me, I can't imagine many more problems more difficult to solve and more complex than the problems with the mind. And to have somebody come out there and say, oh, I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'm the best, rah, 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 me, everything, everything, everything. You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. Really? That is malpractice too strong of a term to use as an objective outsider? To me, it feels and sounds and tastes a lot like malpractice.
And I think in some cases it could be, especially depending on what the uh, qualifying condition was. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we could treat. I mean, and there's different levels of therapists. There's different levels of training. Myself, I'm a psychologist, so the hours and education that we had to go through were double, triple than some of the other therapists. So if you were going to a psychologist outside of something very, very, very specific, there's a good chance we can treat it. Different levels of education, again, might not be. So the caveat to that is it does have to be qualified by what you're reading and who it is. And that's why I'm not going into specifics on that. But that idea still holds true. And the people that do it generally tend to be those, like you were just saying, walk in the door, let's try to help. And usually comes from a scarcity mindset. Usually they're just starting out and they want to, if I don't get this one, I might not be able to pay my bills. And
Bingo,
that scarcity
bingo, bingo.
mindset is very, very scary. It's very powerful. And it takes good people that don't want to do harm and puts them in positions that they would not break the rules, but, definitely get close to that line. And not out of an evil intention, mostly just out of scarcity and trying to just survive.
So what I hear is we can go onto a platform like a Facebook. We can throw a need out there. Hey, I have a referral for somebody. This is it. Who wants to step up, or who is this appropriate for? And you're kind of going in blind. You don't know who's going to respond and if they're really capable, competent, or appropriate for that referral need. And that puts you reputationally at risk. It puts your client, who hopefully you care about, or your friend or your family or your loved one, again, somebody I hope you care about, at a compromised position of risk. And it's pretty unacceptable. And that's why it's so important to understand the correct way to give a referral. Because if you really care about somebody, truly, if you care, if it's important to you and a priority to you that their needs are met, you should really be honored to be able to give a referral. And the way to do that, for me, there's a few instances in life, Doc, where I say there's a right way and a wrong way. But in this instance, there is a right way, and I don't know that there's more than one right way, and there's a whole lot of wrong ways.
Like most things in life, attention to detail plays a big, big role. And I think that's where, going back to the reputation, even with networking, you meet people that say things a lot all the time, but do your own due diligence to make sure that those things are true. One of the pluses in my field, again, we're licensed. We have to pass boards, so we have to pass the licensing exam, we have to graduate from an accredited college. There's a lot of things that show that we have experience that we say we do. Unfortunately, there's also fields like life coaching out there where there is no regulation, where they make claims to do all the things that we do. And this is not to slight all life coaches. There's some actually really good ones out there. But the field as a general is not regulated. So you have to actually do extra due diligence to make sure that person has any of the qualifications they say they do. And that is, whatever the field may be, whatever referral you're giving, make sure as you're giving it that you have done your diligence to make sure that person meets the qualifications.
Yeah, you've got to have within your network to give good referrals. You've got to have competent people very good at what they do. So I guess your first starting point to give any good referral is to have your network in place. Know who is good at what they do, hopefully very good, and have them in your back pocket.
Now that we went through all the qualifiers on what you need to put together the first part of the referral, your knowledge, your experience, your talent pool, what would you do next? How do you actually give the referral? What is your best technique, JB?
It's really simple, but that doesn't make it easy. And the reason it's not easy is people are scared to do this a lot of times, and they're uncomfortable doing it. And you really need to be able to get over that. Again, you have to have the mindset. We talk about mindset and behavior all the time, Doc. You have to have the mindset that you are doing something for somebody. You are giving not to the person receiving the referral, but you're giving to the person who you're providing the referral for. So if you, Doc, need a referral to somebody, I'm not giving somebody else a referral. I am giving to you. I am helping you. I'm not helping the person I'm giving the referral to. If you have that mindset, it makes it a lot easier, because what you cannot do is, let's say you need a real estate agent, Doc. I can't go ahead and call up my real estate friend, let's say Brian, and say, Brian, hey, I have a referral for you. He's going to call you. I gave him your number. That's wrong. You do that, and I know some of our listeners do. It's wrong.
Don't do that.
100% wrong.
Don't do that.
Do not do that. If you're doing it, stop. Here's why. Because most of us are never going to make that phone call. If I say to Brian, hey, Doc's going to call you, guess what, Doc, in all likelihood, will never do.
Here's a caveat, just for those that are listening that know psychology. So if you haven't paid attention to any of our podcasts before, know I have two different worlds. I have a psychology world that is very regulated in a lot of rules, and then my coaching world is a lot more open with that. So if you gave me a referral in the coaching world, I can call you. But if you gave me a referral in the psychology world, I cannot make the first phone call regardless of wanting to or not. We also can't close referrals the same way. There's a lot of rules in the psychology world. So for the rest of this podcast, assume I am talking from the coaching world. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. My point is the same. If you put the control in the hands of the person that needs the referral, chances are they won't get to it. And it's no knock on you. It's no knock on the person who you're giving the referral to. It's simply the reality and the psychology of how people behave, which is a whole lot of what we talk about is behavior.
My favorite words.
Yes, I knew I'd get your attention with that one. So what's the right way to do it? It's really, really straightforward, Doc. If somebody needs a referral to somebody else, you look them in the eyes and you say, I have someone or the someone you need to talk to. I'm going to have them call you. Is that okay? Do you see how easy that was? It was 2 sentences. So easy.
Can you now tell me how we would do it if you weren't looking the person in the eye because of maybe like COVID or online networking?
I'd be looking at them in the eyes from a distance. No, it's, you can do it online. You can do it electronically. You can do it via voice message. You can do it via text. Either way, what you're doing is you're getting somebody's commitment to allow you to pass on their contact information. And if they say no to you, know that there's a bigger issue at play. Know that there's not enough trust between you and the person you're talking to give a referral in the first place. Because if somebody needs something and they're unwilling to allow you to pass on their information, they don't trust you. And you need to ask yourself, why don't they trust me? And if you're scared to ask that question and to ask, hey, is it okay if I pass on your information? You need to ask yourself, honestly, why are you afraid of that? And is it because you don't feel like you have enough trust set up with that person? And do you need to develop a better relationship? Because you very well might need to. Or even worse, maybe you're not coming from a position of authority and credibility where you have the ability to give a referral in the first place. So you've got some real work to do. You got wood to chop in that situation.
Definitely redeemable. Another technique I like to use, especially
No, this was the only right technique.
electronically.
Go ahead, Doc. Give him another.
If it's electronically, especially if you're going to send an email, don't just send an email to say like, here's a referral to this person, call them. I think it's the same thing as if you're saying that in person. The chances are they're not calling that person. There's usually a discomfort level to not knowing, scared, whatever it may be, anxiety. But if you sent an email to both people introducing them to each other and say, hey, Bob, I'd like you to meet Neil. He is looking for someone that you do very well, and I'd like to introduce you. Neil, this is Bob. This is the person I was recommending to you. That gives them an opening. It takes the onus off of both sides to have to do the reaching out. There's a comfort level because now they have the mutual connection. If you listen to one of our very first podcasts, that familiarity of knowing the person and then that being part of that same circle, it makes it so much easier. It takes that onus away. It makes the process so much better.
Have you heard of multipliers before? Probably you have, Doc. And for all our listeners who maybe haven't, multiplier is we could say there's one way to do something and it's going to get X result. And then this next way to do something is going to get you a 10X result. And then the next way to do it's going to get you a 100X result. Now, if you're looking for results, you probably want to be at that multiplier that's 100X. And referral giving is kind of the same way, where we can give a referral that's going to, in my opinion, be 0X. And that's, oh, I told somebody about you and they're going to call you. That's a 0X. You take a 10X and it's what I said. It's, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and I'm going to have them call you. You want the 100X? It's that mutual introduction where you actually give some level of detail to the referrer and the person being referred to, and you paint the picture for them so they get to know each other. And that can be via email, that can be on a conference call, or you want 100X, you do it in person. You get together with people and you make that introduction in person. I just did this about a week or so ago. I met with 2 people. I don't do that very often anymore. We met outdoors and I introduced them in person to each other, and they've already got business brewing together. And it worked so well and it was so powerful because it's that 100X multiplier, Doc, where I didn't just pass on, hey, so-and-so will call you. I didn't just say, okay, I'm going to have, the person I'm referring you to call you. Is that okay? That's good. Trust me, it's really good. That's the right way to do it. But if you want the very, very best results, what you just talked about, bringing it to the next level, really bringing the 3 people together as one, that's the 100X multiplier right there.
And that has one of those things that give back way in the future when you don't really expect it. Because now think about they have a good experience. Things went really well. And then they're going through their email or they're reminiscing about how they met. All of a sudden you're there. You're on that same email. You're the reminder that, oh, look what this person did for me. And when you do something, and this is not obviously the reason we do it because we want to help. But one of the side effects, benefits of that is they want to do something nice in return. And that's usually a referral back or some other way of getting you business and creating income for you. It's part of that reciprocity, and I can't say that word today.
Reciprocity.
That word.
Is altruism selfish? Is giving selfish? To an extent, every action that we have in this life is selfish. To be a giver, if you know it's going to give back to you in the future, does not diminish the giving at all. It's just a win for everybody. And that's the perfect situation.
Because as much as we like to give to other people, we like ourselves too.
Well, I always said, if you really care about the people you work for and you work with, you're going to stay in business. Because if you can't afford to stay in business, you can't help anybody.
And think about it, and what we are talking about is business. And I know that gets to some people like a gray area. Well, I can't, I don't want to, like JB was just saying, feel bad if I'm trying to actually only do good, but it is business. This is all still based around business, and part of business is survival and making money. And as JB just said, staying in business is key for everyone. And thriving is even better, because the more that you thrive, the more money you can make, the more you can give back, the more you can continue to spread the wealth, the more people you can hire. There's so many things that come from that. So no, your success goes a long way.
We need to queue up some really successful, enlightening, circle of lifestyle music right now. I'm hearing the Lion King in the back of my mind. It's not weird at all. Don't give me that look, Doc. This is great. I mean, it's funny because we said, hey, we're going to talk only about the give, but we really started with the receive and how to even ask initially. But this is a great topic of conversation. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just trying to get better at life and see better results in everything you do and get your mind right and level up, this is the type of thing that Doc and I really specialize in. We're here to take you to the next level. And we can't be more excited to be able to talk about things like this. It really does make a huge difference. Doc, let them know where they can find us.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at JB and the Doctor. You have a Facebook community group where you can interact with us and ask us questions. And we hope comment on the podcast things that you took away. We love to interact with you there. Plus you get some special discounts at upcoming courses and things like that there you can't get anywhere else. Or you can just always email us at podcast@jbandthedoctor.com.
All the details are in the show notes, folks.
Right down below.
So I've got an ask for everybody listening. If you haven't joined our Facebook group and you fit that profile, somebody who wants to see better results in your life, join our group. Start interacting with us. We want to hear from you. And if you really want to take it to the next level, we are available for our famous 2-on-1 coaching.
That's 2 of us and 1 of you.
Ooh, it's so nice. All right, everybody. I think I've gotten to my dose of us today, Doc. What about you?
I'm ready to go give some referrals.
Yes, let's go give. I love it. Hey, I'm JB, everybody, and we'll sell you later.
I'm the Doctor. Peace out, yo.